Well, it's World Allergy Week. It's an important one, and this year's efforts are being directed towards the management of allergies in what is a constantly changing environment. In South Africa, a significant proportion of children, up to 1 in 5 actually, suffer from asthma. An even larger percentage of children, up to 40%, require medication for allergic inflammation of the nose, which is often triggered by dust, pollen and mould. Let's get Trevor Brewer, who is the Director of Solenco. I hope I've said that correctly, an air treatment specialist. Trevor, good morning to you. I appreciate your time. Is there a link between climate change and changes in everyday weather and the allergies our youngsters are experiencing? Good morning.
Good morning, Gareth. Thanks very much for having me. Yes, absolutely there is. What we're seeing with climate change is obviously global temperatures rising, and as a result, the pollen season is becoming quite extended, from an earlier start to a longer finish. The plants are releasing pollen for much longer times, and then as well as the extreme weather conditions. Wetter wet seasons and the dry seasons are all having impact on allergies as well. As an example, there's a build-up of mould due to a very humid climate. So if you're getting a lot of rain, like we're currently getting in the Western Cape at the moment, the humidity levels are high, and that's where mould thrives. And similarly, in a dry area, say on the high veld in winter, where there's not a lot of rain, so there's obviously a lot of dust in the air. These can all be triggers for allergies, and we at Solenco are here to help you prevent those.
Tell me how you prevent those. I'll tell you why I'm asking, because there's quite a jump between having a scratchy nose as an allergy, there's a bit of pollen in the air, and suddenly being treated for asthma, which might require chronic medication for the rest of your life. I'll tell you why I'm asking. I'm asthmatic. That's why I'm curious to know what's the jump between the two. When you have a scratchy nose, that's one thing, but the jump to childhood asthma is quite something different.
Absolutely. So pollens or allergens are often a trigger for asthmatic attack. How they work, getting into your lungs and kicking off an asthmatic attack is very traumatic and obviously very is not great for you in terms of your health. So by removing those pollens or allergens from the air, we're able to then ward off that asthmatic attack, and that is done specifically through an air purifier. So an air purifier is a multi-filter filtration system, which removes airborne allergens like mold spores, like pollen, like dust. It even comes with an activated carbon filter, which will remove VOCs or volatile organic compounds, as well as UV light, which will kill any viruses or bacteria. So those will prevent those allergens from getting into your lungs and setting off those asthmatic attacks. Or if you are slightly allergic, it will just prevent those running noses, running eyes from happening as it cleans up the air.
Help me understand the mechanics of that. Talk nuts and bolts to me quickly. How do you put all of this together? I imagine this is a system, and this is why, please correct me if I've got this completely left of field. I imagine this is a system that you're installing in your house, for example, or in the bedroom of a youngster. Tell me how it works.
So it's literally just a plug-and-play appliance. It's probably the size of a small fan or a small fridge. So they're essentially a plug-and-play that you'll just plug into your wall. It comes with a multi-filtration system, as I suggested, a pre-filter, which actually removes pet dander or human hair from the air. An H13, which is a medical-grade HEPA filter, as well as then an antibacterial filter, as well as then an activated carbon filter. And there's a fan within the unit that essentially draws the air through those filters. Those filters then remove those airborne allergens. They all have a different component that they remove from the air, and then it releases this much cleaner air into the room. And what we suggest is that you ensure that your air purifier is able to process air at 4 air changes per hour, which what it essentially means is each cubic meter of air moves through these filters at least 4 times per hour. That will effectively clean the air within your room.
So just in closing then, Trevor, something like this, could it potentially, and I feel like I'm going to be asking a very dangerous question medically, I'm in no way medically trained, not even slightly, of course, but could this be something that could be used from a young age with, say, a newborn baby? Could this, for example, offset the chances of contracting a disease like asthma? Do we know if it's that effective?
So it won't prevent you contracting asthma. Asthma is normally a genetic condition that you're born with and you grow out of it eventually. what it does, it just prevents those allergic triggers from entering your lungs. So it won't prevent you from having asthma. Similarly, you'll have a dehumidifier, which actually reduces your humidity level, which reduces the chances of mold growing.
Right.
If there's no mold growing, there's no release of mold spores into the air, which will also be a trigger for asthmatic conditions. So these are all just very much preventative measures. We at Solenco are air treatment specialists, so we're not medical professionals either, but we do know how to treat your air and to ensure that we sort of remove all the potential allergens.
And the triggers as well, I suppose that's the point, is it's the prevention rather than the cure as well. Trevor Brewer, thank you very much.